For Rafael Nadal, this was more than a farewell. It was a final chapter at a place where his name has become eternal. Paris, the red clay, court Philippe Chatrier, this wasn't just where he played, it's where he lived his most profound sporting moments. And as he stood there one last time, emotions overwhelmed him. The man who once seemed invincible on clay now stood vulnerable, humbled by time, and overcome with gratitude. The crowd rose as one, thunderous applause echoing across the stadium. A sea of admiration. Generations had watched him rise, dominate, fall, rise again. Now, they watched him say goodbye. This wasn't just the end of a match. This was the end of an era. Tears welled in his eyes as the tribute began. Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, and Andy Murray, all pillars of his era, walked out onto the court. It was surreal. Rivals on court, brothers in history. Their presence was the ultimate sign of respect. He looked over at Federer, the man with whom he shared perhaps the sport's greatest rivalry. Their duels weren't just matches, they were masterpieces. Then Djokovic, the one who pushed him to his limits again and again. And Murray, the silent warrior who understood the pain and beauty of competition. Together, they shaped modern tennis. "This is tough," Nadal began, voice trembling. He paused. The memories were flooding back, every drop of sweat, every cheer, every heartbreak, every triumph. "I've been playing on this court for the last 20 years, he said. His voice cracked, but he smiled. "Where I am standing now, I enjoyed, I suffered, I won, I lost. I lived so many emotions." The crowd listened in silence, hanging on his every word. Carlos Alcaraz, the new face of Spanish tennis, stood in awe. Nadal once stood where he is now, youthful, explosive, fearless. He continued, "Without a doubt, this is the most important tennis court of my career." Back in 2005, he had burst onto this very court at just 18 years old, defeating Mariano Puerta in the final and claiming his first Roland Garros title. Nobody imagined then that it would be the first of 14. Each one came with its own story, each one etched deeper into the clay of Paris. "I remember walking out here for the first time. My first big experience. And from that moment, I understood what Roland Garros really meant," he said. He didn't just understand it, he owned it. Every match he played here was like poetry in motion. His relentless topspin forehand, his refusal to give up on any point, his athleticism, his fight, Roland Garros became his fortress. The French crowd became his family. Nadal stood center court now not as the champion chasing glory, but as the legend being honored. A lifetime of sacrifice flashed before him, injuries, comebacks, lonely hotel rooms, late-night training sessions, the silent doubts. And through it all, he gave everything. To the sport, to the fans, to himself. Behind him, images from his victories played on the big screen. The 2008 demolition of Federer. The 2013 war with Djokovic. The 2020 masterclass against the world. The fist pumps. The collapsed knees. The tears. The triumphs. He turned and looked at his family in the stands, his team, his wife, his son. They had been with him through it all. He gave them a nod, a smile of gratitude. And to the fans, he extended his arms. "Merci beaucoup," he said, his French fluent and heartfelt. "Thank you, Paris. Thank you for giving me this stage." One final wave to the crowd. One final look at the clay. He knelt and touched the surface that had given him so much. A quiet moment. Personal. Spiritual. As the music swelled and the ovation resumed, Nadal stood tall, not just a 22-time Grand Slam champion, not just the king of clay, but a man who left everything on the court. His chapter in Paris may be ending, but his legend will echo here forever.